lived alone in space. His home was a small station that floated high above Earth. The station was old and gray, and it made strange sounds at night, but did not mind. He liked the quiet. He liked being alone with the stars. His job was simple. He fixed signals. Every day, thousands of messages traveled through his station. Phone calls, videos, news, and data. They came from Earth and went to other places in space. Sometimes the signals broke. Sometimes they got lost. When that happened, fix them. He had done this job for 7 years. Most people thought it was boring. His friends back on Earth had stopped calling him long ago. They said he was too quiet, too strange, too lost in his own world. Maybe they were right, did not know anymore. Every morning he woke up at the same time. He ate the same food. He checked the same machines. He listened to the same silence. The days blended together like water mixing with water. Nothing changed. Nothing surprised him. Until one night. Was sitting at his desk, watching the signal monitors. The screens showed long lines of numbers and waves. Everything looked normal. But then he saw something strange. One of the waves was different. It moved in a pattern he had never seen before. He leaned closer to the screen. The wave was weak, almost invisible. It hid behind the normal signals like a whisper behind loud voices. Most people would have missed it. Most people would have thought it was just noise, but was not most people. He had spent 7 years listening to signals. He knew what noise looked like. This was not noise. He pressed a button and pulled the strange wave onto his main screen. The pattern was beautiful. It rose and fell in perfect rhythm like a heartbeat. But there was something wrong with it. Parts of the wave were broken. Pieces were missing. The pattern tried to repeat itself, but it kept failing. Felt his heart beat faster. He had never seen anything like this. Where did this signal come from? He checked the direction. The signal was not coming from Earth. It was not coming from any human station or satellite. It was coming from deep space, very deep space. He sat back in his chair and stared at the screen. For a long moment he did not move. Then he smiled. For the first time in years he felt excited. The next few weeks changed his life. He stopped sleeping. He forgot to eat. He spent every moment studying the broken signal. He recorded it, analyzed it, and tried to understand it. The station's computer told him the signal was just random noise, but knew better. The pattern was too perfect to be random. Someone had made this signal. Someone had sent it across the stars, and something had broken it along the way. Started working on the signal. He used every tool he had. He cleaned the noise around it. He amplified the weak parts. He filled in the missing pieces using mathematics and guessing. It was like putting together a puzzle with half the pieces missing. Days turned into weeks. Eyes grew red from staring at screens. His hands shook from too much coffee, but he did not stop. He could not stop. Something inside him told him this was important. This was the most important thing he had ever done. One night, very late, finally finished. He pressed a button and the repaired signal played on his speakers. At first there was only silence. Then a sound filled the room. It was a voice, not a human voice. The words were strange in a language did not know, but it was definitely a voice. Someone was speaking. His hands trembled. He had just done something impossible. He had fixed an alien signal. He had heard a voice from another world. But that was not all. Hidden inside the voice found something else. Numbers, coordinates, a location somewhere far away in the galaxy. Someone was sending a message and they were telling others where to find them. Did not know what to do. Should he tell someone? Should he report this to his bosses on Earth? He thought about it for a long time. In the end, he decided to wait. He wanted to understand more first. He wanted to be sure. He spent the next few days studying the coordinates. The location was in a star system that humans had never visited. It was far away, much farther than any human ship could travel, but the signal kept repeating. Whoever sent it was still there, still waiting. Wondered who they were. Were they friendly? Were they dangerous? Why did they send this signal, and why was it broken? Did something happen to them? Questions filled his mind, but he had no answers. All he could do was wait and listen. Then one morning, everything changed again. Was eating breakfast when his station's alarm went off. Something was approaching, something big. He ran to his control room and looked at his sensors. A ship was coming. It was not a human ship. The design was strange, beautiful, and completely unknown. Watched as the ship came closer. It moved smoothly like a fish swimming through water. Its surface was silver and blue, and it glowed with a soft light. It was the most amazing thing he had ever seen. The ship stopped near his station. For a long moment nothing happened, held his breath. Then his communication screen lit up. Someone was trying to contact him. He pressed the button to accept the call. A face appeared on his screen. It was a woman. She looked almost human, but not quite. Her skin was pale silver. Her eyes were deep violet, like the color of a sunset. Her hair was long and white, and it floated around her face like it was underwater. She was beautiful, more beautiful than anyone had ever seen. The woman looked at him through the screen. Her violet eyes studied his face. Then she spoke. Her voice was soft like music. "You are the one," she said. "You fixed the signal." Could not speak, he could only nod. The woman smiled. It was a sad smile full of hope and pain. "I am Lyra," she said, "Princess of the Empire. I have traveled very far to find you. You are the person I have been dreaming of." Stared at her. His heart was beating so fast he thought it might explode. He had fixed a broken signal, and now an alien princess was at his door. His quiet life in space was over. Something new was about to begin. Stood in his control room, staring at the screen. The alien woman looked back at him with her violet eyes. Her name was Lyra, and she said she was a princess. She said she had been dreaming of him. None of this made sense. I don't understand," finally said. His voice was shaky. "How can you dream of someone you never met?" Lyra's smile grew warmer. "May I come aboard your station? It is difficult to explain through a screen. I promise I mean you no harm." Thought about it, he should say no. He should call Earth and report this. He should follow the rules. But something in her eyes made him trust her. She looked tired. She looked like someone who had traveled a very long way. "Okay," he said, "I'll open the dock." A few minutes later heard the sound of his station's door opening. He walked to the entrance hall and waited. His hands were sweating. His legs felt weak. He was about to meet an alien, a real alien. The door slid open and Lyra stepped inside. She was taller than expected. She wore a long dress that looked like it was made of starlight. It changed colors as she moved, shifting from blue to silver to purple. Up close, she was even more beautiful than on the screen. But she also looked sad. There were dark circles under her eyes. Her shoulders were low, like she was carrying a heavy weight. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you for letting me in." Nodded, he did not know what to say. Would you like some water or coffee? I have coffee." Lyra tilted her head. "Coffee? I do not know this word." "It's a drink. Humans drink it. It helps us stay awake." "I would like to try it," Lyra said. Led her to his small kitchen. He made 2 cups of coffee and gave one to her. Lyra held the cup carefully like it was a treasure. She took a small sip and made a face. "It is bitter," she said. "Yeah," said, "most people add sugar here." He pushed a small bowl of sugar toward her. Lyra added some to her coffee and tried again. This time she smiled. "Better," she said, "much better." They sat at a small table. Outside the window, stars filled the darkness. It was strange, thought. He was sitting with an alien princess, drinking coffee, looking at stars. His life had become very strange. "So," said slowly, "you said you dreamed of me. What does that mean?" Lyra set down her cup. Her eyes became serious. "My people have a gift," she said. "We can see things in our dreams, things that will happen, things that are important. The dreams are not always clear. Sometimes they are just feelings or images, but sometimes they show us people who will change our lives. She looked at, I have been dreaming of you for 200 years. Almost dropped his coffee. 200 years, how is that possible? I'm only 32 years old. My people live much longer than humans, Lyra explained. I am 347 years old, still young for my kind. His mind was spinning. 300 years old. Living that long was impossible for humans, but Lyra was not human. In my dreams, Lyra continued, I saw a man sitting alone in a metal room among the stars. He was fixing something important. I did not know what it was. I did not know who he was, but I knew I had to find him. She reached into her dress and pulled out a small object. It was a crystal, clear and bright. Inside the crystal could see an image. It was his face. I painted this image many years ago, Lyra said. From my dreams. When our signal reached your station and you fixed it, we could finally trace its path. It led us here. To you. Looked at the crystal. The face inside was definitely his. Same eyes, same nose, same messy hair. It was impossible, but it was true. This alien princess had been dreaming of him for centuries. Why me? He asked. I'm nobody. I'm just a technician. I fix signals. That's all I do. Lyra shook her head. You are not nobody. You fixed a signal that traveled across the galaxy. A signal that our greatest engineers could not repair. A signal that was broken for 500 years. 500 years, repeated. Lyra nodded. Her eyes became sad again. Let me tell you about my people. The Empire was once great. We had 1,000 worlds. Our ships could travel anywhere in the galaxy, and at the center of it all was the beacon. The beacon. Our communication network. It connected all our worlds together. No matter how far apart we were, we could talk to each other instantly. The beacon was our heart. Without it, we were nothing. Lyra's voice became quiet. 500 years ago something happened, a great disaster. The beacon broke. We do not know why or how. Our best engineers tried to fix it, but they failed. Without the beacon, our worlds became isolated. We could not talk to each other. We could not coordinate. We could not help each other. She looked out the window at the stars. One by one, our worlds fell into darkness. Wars broke out. Diseases spread. Empires rose and fell. The people once united became scattered and lost. We are dying. My people are dying. Felt a pain in his chest. He could see the sorrow in Lyra's eyes. She was carrying the weight of her entire civilization. The signal I fixed, said slowly, it was from the beacon. Yes, Lyra said. The beacon still works, but it is broken. It sends out a signal, but the signal is corrupted. No one could understand it. No one could repair it. For 500 years we tried. We failed. And then you came. She reached across the table and took his hand. Her skin was cool and smooth. You fixed the signal. You did in weeks what we could not do in centuries. You have a gift, a special ability with signals and machines. My dreams showed me this. You are the one who can save my people. Looked at their joined hands. Her fingers were long and elegant. His were rough and calloused from years of work. They were so different, but somehow, holding her hand felt right. You want me to fix the beacon, he said. Yes, Lyra said. I am asking you to come with me, to travel to my home world, to use your gift to restore our communication network. I know it is a lot to ask. I know you have a life here, but please, you are our only hope. Thought about his life, his empty station, his silent days, his forgotten friends. What was there to hold him here? What was he waiting for? He looked at Lyra. She was waiting for his answer. Her violet eyes were full of hope and fear. If I go with you, said, will you show me the stars? The real stars, not just the ones outside my window. Lyra smiled, a real smile, bright and warm. I will show you everything, she said. Every star, every planet, every wonder of the galaxy. Just say yes. Took a deep breath. He thought about the signal he had fixed. He thought about the voice he had heard. He thought about the dreams of an alien princess who had waited 200 years to meet him. Then he made his choice. "Yes," he said, "I'll come with you." Lyra's eyes filled with tears, but she was smiling. She stood up and hugged him tightly, was surprised, but he hugged her back. She smelled like flowers in starlight. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Looked over her shoulder at the stars outside his window. Soon he would be out there, traveling through space, helping an alien princess save her people. It was crazy. It was impossible. It was the most exciting thing that had ever happened to him. He could not wait to begin. The ship was called the Silver Wind. It was bigger inside than expected. From outside it looked like a small vessel, but inside there were many rooms. Sleeping quarters, a kitchen, a navigation room, and something Lyra called the Star Garden. It was a room filled with glowing plants that produced fresh air. Walked through the ship with wide eyes. Everything was beautiful. The walls were smooth and curved, like the inside of a seashell. Soft lights glowed from hidden places. The floor was warm under his feet. "Do you like it?" Lyra asked. She was walking beside him, watching his reactions. "It's amazing," said. "How old is this ship?" "This ship is 200 years old. I built it myself." "Stopped walking. You built this." Lyra smiled. "My people live long lives. We have time to learn many things. I am a princess, yes, but I am also an engineer. I love building things." "Then why couldn't you fix the beacon?" Lyra's smile faded. "The beacon is different. It is old technology, very old. The people who built it are gone. Their knowledge is lost. I can repair ships and small machines, but the beacon, it is beyond my understanding." She led to the navigation room. There was a large window at the front, showing the stars. In the center of the room was a glowing table with a map of the galaxy. "We will travel for 3 weeks," Lyra said. "My home world is far from here." 3 weeks to cross the galaxy?" asked. "That's impossible. Even light takes thousands of years to travel that far." "We do not travel through normal space," Lyra explained. "We use something called fold travel. We fold space, bringing 2 distant points together. Then we step across." She made a gesture with her hands, pressing them together. "Imagine a piece of paper. If you want to go from one side to the other, you can walk across. But if you fold the paper, the 2 sides touch. You can step directly from one to the other." Nodded slowly. "I've read about theories like that. Humans call it wormhole travel, but we never figured out how to do it." "Your people are young," Lyra said gently. "You will learn. Given time, you will learn everything." The ship began to move. Felt a strange sensation, like being stretched and compressed at the same time. The stars outside the window blurred and twisted. Then, suddenly, they were somewhere else. The stars were different. The colors were different. Grabbed the edge of the glowing table. That was strange. "The first fold is always the hardest," Lyra said. "You will get used to it." Over the next few days, explored the ship and learned about the people. Lyra was a patient teacher. She showed him their history, their culture, their technology. She taught him some words in her language. She told him about her family and her world. They were an old race. They had existed for millions of years. They had built great cities on 1,000 worlds. They had created art, music, and science beyond human imagination. But they had also suffered. Wars, disasters, and the breaking of the beacon had wounded them deeply. "How many are left?" asked one night. They were sitting in the Star Garden, surrounded by glowing flowers. Lyra was quiet for a moment. "We do not know exactly. Before the beacon broke, there were trillions of us. Now, maybe a few billion, scattered across many worlds, unable to communicate, unable to help each other." "And you think I can change that?" Lyra looked at him. Her violet eyes were soft in the flower light. "I believe in my dreams. They have never been wrong. You are special. I do not know how or why, but you have a gift that we do not have." "Thought about this?" He did not feel special. He was just a technician who liked fixing things, but maybe that was enough. Maybe sometimes the simple skills were the most important ones. The next day, Lyra took to see the ship's engine room. It was filled with glowing crystals and strange machines. Looked at everything with curious eyes. "Can I touch these?" he asked. "Yes, they will not harm you." Reached out and touched one of the crystals. It was warm and hummed gently under his fingers. He closed his eyes and listened. The crystal was making a sound, very quiet. It was almost like a signal. "This crystal is communicating," said suddenly. Lyra looked surprised. "What do you mean?" "It's sending out a pattern, a signal, very weak, but it's there. It's talking to the other crystals in the room." Lyra stared at him. "That is correct, but how did you know? It took me 50 years to learn that." Shrugged. "I don't know, I can just hear it, feel it. It's like the signals I used to fix on my station. They all have a pattern, a rhythm. If you listen carefully, you can understand them." Lyra's eyes grew wide. "This is your gift. You can hear what we cannot. You can understand the language of machines." Thought about it. Maybe she was right. He had always been good with machines. They made sense to him in a way that people never did. He could feel when something was wrong, when a signal was broken, when a machine was sick. It was not magic. It was just listening. Over the following weeks, studied the technology. Lyra gave him access to everything. She showed him their computers, their engines, their communication devices. Spent hours touching, listening, and learning. The technology was beautiful, but it was also strange. Humans built machines with logic and mathematics. The built machines with something else, something like music. Their circuits were not just wires and chips. They were patterns of energy that flowed like songs. "Your machines are alive," said one day. "Not really alive, but they have something like a soul, a voice." Lyra nodded. "We believe that all things have spirit, even machines. When we build something, we give it a piece of ourselves. That is why our technology is so hard to understand. It is not just engineering, it is art." Understood now why they could not fix the beacon. Their approach was different from his. They tried to understand the beacon's spirit, its soul, but approached things differently. He listened to the signals. He found the broken patterns. He fixed them with logic and patience. Maybe that was what they needed. Not someone who thought like them, but someone who thought differently. The ship continued its journey through folded space. Each day brought new stars, new wonders. Saw nebulas that glowed like fire. He saw planets made entirely of crystal. He saw stars being born and stars dying. And always, Lyra was beside him. They talked for hours every day. They shared meals and stories and laughs. Learned that Lyra loved to cook, even though she was terrible at it. He learned that she was afraid of small spaces and loved to swim. He learned that she had a younger brother who she missed very much. In turn, told her about Earth, about the mountains and oceans and cities full of people, about his parents who had died when he was young, about his years alone on the station, waiting for something to change. "You were lonely," Lyra said. "Yes," admitted, "very lonely." Lyra took his hand. "You are not lonely anymore." Looked at her. Her silver skin glowed softly. Her violet eyes were warm. She was an alien princess from another world, but somehow she felt like home. "No," he said, "I'm not lonely anymore." On the last day of the journey, Lyra woke early. "Come," she said, "we are almost there. I want you to see." They went to the navigation room. Outside the window saw a planet. It was beautiful, blue and green and gold with rings of silver ice. Moons orbited around it, each one glowing with city lights. "This is Prime," Lyra said. "My home, the heart of what remains of our empire." Stared at the planet. It was more beautiful than anything he had ever seen, and somewhere down there was the beacon, the broken heart of a dying civilization. He was about to try to fix it. "Are you ready?" Lyra asked. Took a deep breath. He thought about his small station, his quiet life, his lonely years. All of that was behind him now. Ahead of him was something new, something important. "I'm ready," he said. The silver wind began its descent toward the planet below. Prime was everything Lyra had promised and more. The cities were made of crystal and light. Towers reached toward the sky like frozen music. Rivers of silver water flowed through parks filled with glowing trees. It was beautiful, but could also see the sadness. Many buildings were empty. Streets that once held crowds were now quiet. The people saw looked tired and worried. This was a civilization waiting for something, waiting for hope. Lyra took to the palace. It was a massive structure at the center of the capital city. Made of white stone and blue crystal, it shone like a star fallen to earth. Inside, servants bowed as Lyra walked past. They looked at with curious eyes. "They are wondering who you are," Lyra said quietly. "What will you tell them?" "The truth, that you are the one from my dreams, the one who will save us." Felt uncomfortable. He did not like being called a savior. He was just an engineer. But he did not argue with Lyra. She believed in him, and he did not want to disappoint her. They went to a large room where several people waited. They were, all of them, old and serious. They sat around a curved table, watching as Lyra entered. "Princess," one of them said. He was the oldest, with long white hair and deep lines on his face. "You have returned, and this is the human." "Yes, Elder," Lyra said. He is the one I dreamed of." The elders studied with hard eyes. He could feel their doubt. To them, he was just a small creature from a young world. How could he possibly help them? "The council has agreed to let you try," Elder said. "But we have little hope. Many have tried before, all have failed." "I understand," said. "I'm not making any promises, but I'll do my best." Elder nodded slowly. "That is all we can ask. Lyra, take him to the beacon." The beacon was located beneath the palace, deep underground, and Lyra took a lift that descended for several minutes. When the doors opened, his breath caught in his throat. The chamber was enormous, so big that could not see the walls. In the center stood the beacon itself. It was a tower of crystal, reaching from the floor to the ceiling far above. It glowed with a soft, pulsing light. Tubes and wires connected it to machines all around the chamber. Everything was covered in dust. "This is it," Lyra said. Her voice was soft with emotion. "The heart of our civilization." Walked toward the beacon. Up close, he could see that the crystal was cracked in many places. Dark spots covered its surface like bruises. The light that pulsed from within was weak and unsteady. He reached out and touched the crystal. It was cold. He closed his eyes and listened. The beacon was screaming. Not with sound, but with signal. Broken, corrupted, desperate signal. It was trying to communicate, trying to reach out to 1,000 worlds, but something was blocking it. Something was hurting it. "I can hear it," whispered. "It's in pain." Lyra came to stand beside him. "Can you help it?" Opened his eyes. He looked at the massive structure before him. It was more complex than anything he had ever worked on, but at its core it was still a signal, still a pattern, still something that could be understood. "I need time," he said, "and tools, and access to all your records about how this thing works." "You will have everything you need," Lyra promised. The next 2 months were the hardest of his life. He barely slept. He barely ate. He spent every moment studying the beacon, learning its secrets, trying to understand what had gone wrong. The engineers helped him. At first they were skeptical. This small human could not possibly succeed where they had failed. But as days passed, they began to change their minds. Saw things they did not see. He asked questions they had never thought to ask. He approached problems from angles they had never considered. "You think differently," one engineer told him. Her name was, and she was younger than the others. She had silver eyes instead of violet and a quick smile. "We try to feel the beacon's spirit. You try to hear its voice." "It's the same thing," said, "just a different way of doing it." slowly, piece by piece, mapped the beacon's systems. He traced every connection, every pathway, every flow of energy. He found the places where the signal broke down. He discovered the blocks that stopped the message from getting through. The problem was not simple. 500 years ago, something had damaged the beacon's core. The original engineers had tried to fix it, but their repairs had made things worse. Layer upon layer of patches and workarounds had been added over the centuries, each one causing new problems. "It's like a house with too many repairs," explained to Lyra one night. They were sitting in the chamber, surrounded by holographic displays of the beacon's systems. Every time something broke, someone fixed it without understanding the whole picture. Now the whole thing is a mess. "Can you fix it?" "Maybe, but I can't just repair what's broken. I need to rebuild the core systems, start fresh." Lyra looked worried. "That sounds dangerous." "It is. If I make a mistake, the beacon could fail completely. You would lose everything." Lyra was quiet for a long moment. Then she reached out and took his hand. "I trust you," she said. "Do what you must." Spent another month preparing. He designed new systems based on what he had learned. He combined human engineering with technology. He created something that had never existed before, a bridge between two ways of thinking. When he was finally ready, the whole planet held its breath. Stood before the beacon's core. Around him, engineers monitored every system. Lyra stood nearby, her hands clasped together. Even the elders had come down from the palace to watch. "Beginning restoration," said. He reached into the core and began to work. His hands moved quickly, guided by months of study and years of experience. He removed the old, broken systems. He installed the new ones he had built. He rewired connections, redirected energy flows, rebuilt pathways that had been damaged for centuries. Hours passed. Hands began to shake from exhaustion, but he did not stop. He could feel the beacon responding to his touch. It was like a patient on an operating table, waiting to see if it would live or die. Finally, after 12 hours of work, stepped back. His body was trembling, his vision was blurring, but he was done. "Activating new systems," he said. He pressed a button. For a moment nothing happened. The chamber was silent. Everyone held their breath. Then the beacon began to glow. The light started at the base and rose upward, filling the crystal with brilliant white radiance. Brighter and brighter it grew, until the whole chamber was lit like day. The cracks in the crystal began to close. The dark spots faded away. And then the signal came. It burst from the beacon like a song, spreading outward in all directions, clear and strong and pure. A message of connection, reaching across the galaxy to 1,000 lost worlds. Lyra gasped. Tears were streaming down her face. Around the chamber, engineers were hugging each other. Even the old elders were weeping. "It's working," whispered. "By the stars, it's working." Sank to his knees. He was too tired to stand, but he was smiling. He had done it. He had actually done it. Lyra ran to him and knelt beside him. She threw her arms around him and held him tight. "You did it," she said through her tears. "You saved us. You saved my people." Hugged her back. "I just fixed a signal," he said. "That's what I do." Lyra laughed. It was a beautiful sound, full of joy and relief. "You did so much more than that," she said. "You gave us back our future." Around them, the beacon continued to sing. Its light filled the chamber with hope. After 500 years of darkness, the Empire was connected again. And at the center of it all was a simple human engineer who had heard what no one else could hear. Closed his eyes and listened to the beacon's song. It was the most beautiful sound he had ever heard. The days after the restoration were filled with celebration. News of the beacon's revival spread across Prime like fire. People poured into the streets, singing and dancing and crying with joy. Ships carried the message to other worlds, and soon the entire empire knew what had happened. A human had saved them. A simple engineer from a small blue planet had done the impossible. Became famous overnight. Wherever he went, people bowed to him. They touched his hands and thanked him with tears in their eyes. Children asked for his blessing. Elders called him a gift from the stars. It was uncomfortable, was not used to attention. He preferred quiet rooms and glowing screens, not crowds and celebrations. But he understood what this meant to the people. For 500 years they had been alone. Now they were connected again. They could talk to their families on distant worlds. They could share news and help and hope. He had given them something precious. He could not refuse their gratitude. A week after the restoration, the Council of Elders called a special meeting. All the important leaders of Prime gathered in the palace's great hall. Lyra brought to stand before them. Elder rose from his seat. His old face was softer now, and his eyes were kind. "Of Earth," he said, "you came to us as a stranger from a distant world. You asked for nothing, you promised nothing, yet you gave us everything. You restored our beacon, you reconnected our people, you saved our civilization." The hall was silent, everyone was watching. "The Council has discussed this for many days," Elder continued. "We have decided that words alone cannot express our gratitude. We wish to offer you something more." He stepped forward and held out his hands. In them was a small box made of crystal. He opened it, revealing a ring inside. The ring was silver and blue, with a gem that pulsed with soft light. "This is the Ring of Unity," Elder said. "It has been worn by only the greatest heroes of our empire. We offer it to you now. And with it, we offer you a place among us, not as a visitor, not as a guest, but as a citizen of the empire, as one of us." Stared at the ring. It was beautiful, but that was not what moved him. It was what it represented: acceptance, belonging, a home. He looked at Lyra. She was smiling at him, her violet eyes bright with hope. "There is one more thing," Elder said. "Princess Lyra has made a request to the Council. She has asked for permission to take a human as her partner, to bind her life to yours. The Council has approved this request." His heart stopped. "Partner." He looked at Lyra with wide eyes. Lyra stepped forward. She was nervous, could see. Her hands were trembling slightly. "I know this is sudden," she said. "I know we have only known each other for a few months, but I have dreamed of you for 200 years. I have waited for you my whole life. When I found you, I knew. I knew you were the one I wanted to walk beside forever." She took his hands in hers. Her skin was cool and smooth. "I am not asking you to answer now. I am asking you to think about it, to consider spending your life here with me among the stars. I know it is a lot to ask, but I had to tell you how I feel." His mind was spinning. This morning he had been a simple engineer. Now he was being offered citizenship in an alien empire and marriage to a princess. It was too much to process. But then he thought about his old life, the empty station, the silent days, the loneliness that had followed him everywhere. He thought about how Lyra had changed everything, how she had shown him wonders beyond imagination, how she had made him feel for the first time in his life that he was not alone. He thought about the beacon, singing its song across the galaxy. He thought about all the worlds that were connected again because of him. He thought about the future, not just for but for humanity too. What if this was the beginning of something bigger, a bridge between two civilizations? He looked at Lyra. She was waiting for his answer. Her eyes were full of hope and fear. Smiled. "I don't need time to think," he said. "I know my answer." Lyra held her breath. "Yes," said, "to all of it. Yes, I'll accept the ring. Yes, I'll stay here. And yes, Lyra, I want to be your partner. I want to spend my life with you." Lyra's face lit up with joy. She threw her arms around him and kissed him. The whole hall erupted in cheers. People were clapping and shouting and crying. Elder placed the ring of unity on his finger. It fit perfectly, as if it had been made for him. The gem glowed brightly, responding to his touch. "Welcome to the Empire," Elder said. "Welcome home." The celebration that followed lasted for 3 days. There was music and dancing and feasting. People came from across the planet to see the human hero and wish him well. Ships arrived from other worlds, carrying leaders who wanted to thank him in person. But through it all stayed close to Lyra. She was his anchor in this strange new world, his guide, his friend, his love. On the third night, when the celebrations had finally quieted down, they stood together on a balcony of the palace. The city spread out below them, glowing with lights. Above them, stars filled the sky. "Are you happy?" Lyra asked. Thought about the question. He remembered his old life, floating alone in space. He remembered the broken signal that had started everything. He remembered the journey, the restoration, and all the moments in between. "Yes," he said, "I'm happy, happier than I've ever been." Lyra leaned against him. "I'm glad. I was worried you might regret this. Your home is so far away." "Earth will always be part of me," he said. "But home isn't just a place. It's where you feel you belong, and I belong here with you." Lyra smiled. "What will you do now? You have fixed the beacon. Your great work is done." Looked up at the stars. There were so many of them, each one a sun with planets of its own. So much to explore, so much to discover. "There's more work to do," he said. "The beacon is fixed, but the Empire still needs to heal. Communication systems on other worlds need to be restored. And maybe I can help build something new. A bridge between humans and a connection between our peoples." Lyra's eyes brightened. "You would do that?" "Why not? I fixed one broken signal. Maybe I can fix more. Maybe I can help humanity and understand each other, share knowledge, learn from each other." He turned to look at Lyra. Her silver skin glowed softly in the starlight. Her violet eyes were warm and loving. "You believed in me when no one else did," he said. "You crossed the galaxy to find me. You gave me a purpose, a home, a family. I want to give something back, not just to you, but to both our peoples." Lyra took his hand. "Then we will do it together. Whatever comes, we will face it together." Smiled. A year ago, he had been alone on a tiny station, fixing signals in the dark. Now he was standing on an alien world, holding the hand of a princess, looking at a future filled with possibility. All because he had fixed a broken signal. He thought about humanity back on Earth. They did not know it yet, but everything was about to change. Soon they would learn that they were not alone in the universe. Soon they would meet thee and discover wonders beyond imagination. And at the center of it all would be a simple engineer who had listened when no one else could hear. Looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, small and blue and beautiful. He would see it again someday. He would bring Lyra there and show her the mountains and oceans he had told her about. He would introduce her to the people of his home world. But for now, he was exactly where he needed to be. "The future looks bright," he said. Lyra squeezed his hand. "It does, and it's all because of you." They stood together under the stars, two people from different worlds, united by hope and love and the song of a beacon that would never be silent again. This was just the beginning, and it was going to be wonderful,